अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः सांख्ययोगः। संजय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः।
Sanjaya said, Shri Krishna then addressed the following words to Arjuna, who was, as mentioned before, overwhelmed with pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and agitated, and who was full of sorrow.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anaryajushthamasvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna.
Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, how has this delusion overtaken you at this hour? It is shunned by noble souls. Neither will it bring heaven nor fame to you.
Klaibyam asmagamah partha naitattvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishhtha parantapa.
Yield not to unmanliness, Arjuna. This does not become you. Shaking off this base faint-heartedness, stand up, O scorcher of enemies.
Arjuna uvacha katham bhishmamaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhih pratiyochyami pujarha varisudana.
Arjuna said, how, Krishna, shall I fight Bhishma and Drona with arrows on the battlefield? They are worthy of the deepest reverence, O destroyer of foes. It is better to live on alms in this world.
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshamapi haloke hatvartha kamamstu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan.
By not slaying these noble elders, because even after killing them, we shall after all enjoy only blood-stained pleasures in the form of wealth and sense enjoyments.
Na chaitadvidmah kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuh yaneva hatva na jijivishamah tevasthitah pramukhe dhartarashtrah.
We do not even know which is preferable for us, to fight or not to fight. Nor do we know whether we shall win or whether they will conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing whom we do not even wish to live, stand in the enemy ranks.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
With my very being smitten by the vice of faint-heartedness and my mind puzzled with regard to duty, I beseech you, tell me that which is decidedly good. I am your disciple. Pray, instruct me, who have taken refuge in you.
नहि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम्.
For even on obtaining undisputed sovereignty and an affluent kingdom on this earth and lordship over the gods, I do not see any means that can drive away the grief which is drying up my senses.
Sanjaya uvacha evamuktva hrishikesham गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः.
Sanjaya said, O king, having thus spoken to Sri Krishna, Arjuna again said to him, I will not fight, and became silent.
तमुवाच हृषीकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः.
Then, O Dhritarashtra, Shri Krishna, as if smiling, addressed the following words to Arjuna, sorrowing in the midst of the two armies.
Shri Bhagawanuvacha Ashochananvashocastvam prajñāvādāṃश्च bhāṣase gatasu na gatasumश्च nanuṣocanti panditaः.
Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for, and yet speak like the learned. Wise men do not sorrow over the dead or the living.
Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param.
In fact, there was a time when I was not, or when you or these kings were not. Nor is it a fact that hereafter we shall all cease to be.
Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati.
Just as boyhood, youth, and old age are attributed to the soul through this body, even so it attains another body. The wise man does not get deluded about this.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadah agamapayino nityah tam stitikshasva bharata.
O son of Kunti, the contacts between the senses and their objects, which give rise to the feelings of heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc., are transitory and fleeting. Therefore, Arjuna, endure them.
Yam hi na vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate.
Arjuna, the wise man to whom pain and pleasure are alike and who is not tormented by these contacts become eligible for immortality.
Na sato vidyate bhavah na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drishtontah tvanayostattvadarshibhih.
The unreal has no existence, and the real never ceases to be. The reality of both has thus been perceived by the seers of truth.
Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamauyayasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati.
Know that alone to be perishable which pervades this universe, for no one has power to destroy this indestructible substance.
Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmadyudhyasva bharata.
All these bodies pertaining to the imperishable, indefinable, and eternal soul are spoken of as perishable. Therefore, Arjuna, fight.
Yayenam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate.
Both of them are ignorant. He who considers the soul to be capable of killing, and he who takes it as killed. For relling the soul neither kills nor is killed.
Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
The soul is never born, nor it ever dies, nor does it become on being born. For it is unborn, eternal, everlasting, and primeval. Even though the body is slain, the soul is not.
Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajamavyayam katham sapurushah partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
Arjuna, The man who knows his soul to be imperishable, eternal, and free from birth and decay, how and whom will he cause to be killed, and how and whom will he kill?
वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
As a man shedding worn-out garments takes other new ones, likewise the embodied soul, casting off worn-out bodies, enters into others that are new.
नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः.
Weapons cannot cut it, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can wind dry it.
अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
For this soul is incapable of being cut or burnt by fire, nor can it be dissolved by water, and is undryable by air as well. This soul is eternal, all-pervading, immovable, constant and primeval.
अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि.
The soul is unmanifest. It is incomprehensible, and it is spoken of as immutable. Therefore, knowing it as such, you should not grieve.
अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि.
And Arjuna, if you should suppose this soul to be subject to constant birth and death, even then you should not grieve like this.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
For in that case death is certain for the born, and rebirth is inevitable for the dead. You should not, therefore, grieve over the inevitable.
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना.
Arjuna, before birth, beings are not manifest to our human senses. On death, they return to the unmanifest again. They are manifest only in the interim between birth and death. What occasion then for lamentation?
आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद्वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Hardly some rare enlightened person perceives the soul as marvelous, scarce another, likewise speaks thereof as marvelous, and scarce another hears of it as marvelous, while there are some who know it not even on hearing it.
देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Arjuna, the soul dwelling in the bodies of all can never be slain. Therefore, you should not mourn for anyone.
स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याद्धियुद्धात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Besides, considering your own duty too, you should not waver, for there is nothing more welcome for a man of the warrior class than a righteous war.
यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
Arjuna, fortunate are the Kshatriyas who get such an unsolicited opportunity of war, which is an open gateway to heaven.
अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Now, if you refuse to fight this righteous war, then, shirking your duty and losing your reputation, you will incur sin.
अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते.
Nay, people will also pour undying infamy on you, and infamy brought on a man enjoying popular esteem is worse than death.
भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
And the warrior chiefs who thought highly of you will now despise you, thinking that it was fear which drove you away from the battle.
अवाच वादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
And your enemies, disparaging your might, will speak many unbecoming words. And what can be more distressing than this?
हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मात्
Die, and you will win heaven. Conquer, and you enjoy sovereignty of the earth. Therefore stand up, Arjuna, determined to fight.
Sukha dukhe same kritva labhalabhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamavapsyasi.
Treating alike victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, get ready for the battle. Fighting thus, you will not incur sin.
Esha te bhihita sankhye buddhiryoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi.
Arjuna, this attitude of mind has been presented to you from the point of view of Jnana Yoga. Now, hear the same as presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. Equipped with this attitude of mind, you will be able to throw off completely the shackles of karma.
Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat.
In this path of selfless action, there is no loss of effort, nor is there fear of contrary result. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Arjuna, in this yoga of selfless action, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards one ideal, whereas the intellect of the undecided wanders in all directions after innumerable aims.
Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitaha vedavadarataः partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmanas swargapara janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishwarya gatim prati bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate.
Arjuna, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letters of the Vedas, who look upon heaven as the supreme goal and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven, are unwise. They utter flowery speech, recommending many rituals of various kinds for the attainment of pleasure and power with rebirth as their fruit. Those whose minds are carried away by such words and who are deeply attached to pleasures and worldly power cannot attain the determinate intellect concentrated on God. Traigunya
Vishaya Vedaha निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Arjuna, the Vedas thus deal with the evolutes of the three gunas, worldly enjoyments and the means of attaining such enjoyments. Be thou indifferent to these enjoyments and their means, rising above pairs of opposites like pleasure and pain, established in the eternal existence, absolutely unconcerned about the fulfillment of wants and the preservation of what has already been attained. You be self-controlled.
यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः.
A Brahmana who has obtained enlightenment has as much use for all the Vedas as one who stands at the brink of a sheet of water overflowing on all sides has for a small reservoir of water.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
Your right is to work only and never to the fruit thereof. Do not be the cause of the fruit of action, nor let your attachment to be inaction.
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.
Arjuna, perform your duties established in yoga, renouncing attachment, and be even-minded in success and failure. Evenness of mind is called yoga.
दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाः फलहेतवः.
Action with a selfish motive is far inferior to this yoga in the form of equanimity. Do seek refuge in this equipoise of mind, Arjuna, for poor and wretched are those who are the cause in making their actions bear fruit.
बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Endowed with equanimity, one sheds in this life both good and evil. Therefore, strive for the practice of this yoga of equanimity. Skill in action lies in the practice of this yoga.
कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम्.
For wise men possessing equipoised mind, renouncing the fruit of actions and freed from the shackles of birth, attain the blissful supreme state.
यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदम् श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च.
When your mind will have successfully crossed the mire of delusion, you will then grow indifferent to the enjoyments of this world and the next that have been heard of, as well as to those that are yet to be heard of.
Shruti vipratipanna yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhi tada yogamavapsyasi.
When your intellect, confused by hearing conflicting statements, will rest steady and undistracted in contemplation of God, you will then attain yoga.
Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava स्थितधीः किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम्.
Arjuna said, Krishna, what are the characteristics of a God-realized soul, stable of mind and established in samadhi? How does the man of stable mind speak? How does he sit? How does he walk?
Shri Bhagawanuvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha स्थितः प्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते.
Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, when one thoroughly casts off all cravings of the mind and is satisfied in the self through the joy of the self, he is then called stable of mind.
Dukkheshvanudvignamanaha सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते.
The sage, whose mind remains unperturbed amid sorrows, whose thirst for pleasures has altogether disappeared, and who is free from passion, fear, and anger, is called stable of mind.
Yas sarvatranabhisnehah tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita.
He who is not attached to anyone or anything, and meeting with good and evil neither rejoices nor recoils, his mind is stable.
Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita.
When, like a tortoise that draws in its limbs from all directions, he withdraws all his senses from the sense objects, his mind becomes steady.
Vishaya vinivartante निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Sense objects turn away from him. Who does not enjoy them with his senses, but the taste for them persists. This relish also disappears in the case of the man of stable mind when he realizes the Supreme.
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Turbulent by nature, the senses even of a wise man who is practicing self-control forcibly carry away his mind, Arjuna.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Therefore, having controlled all the senses and concentrating his mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have a stable mind.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते.
The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desire, and from desire ensues anger.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
From anger arises delusion. From delusion, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of reason. And from loss of reason, one goes to complete ruin.
रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति.
But the self-controlled sadhaka, while enjoying the various sense objects through his senses, which are disciplined and free from likes and dislikes, attains placidity of mind.
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते.
With the attainment of such placidity of mind, all his sorrows come to an end, and the intellect of such a person of tranquil mind, soon withdrawing itself from all sides, becomes firmly established in God.
नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्.
He who has not controlled his mind and senses can have no determinate intellect nor contemplation. Without contemplation, he can have no peace. And how can there be happiness for one lacking peace of mind?
Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harati prajñam vayurnavamivambhasi.
As the wind carries away a boat upon the waters, even so, of the senses moving among sense objects, the one to which the mind is attached takes away his discrimination.
Tasmadyasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajña pratisthita.
Therefore, Arjuna, he whose senses are completely restrained from their objects is said to have a stable mind.
Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagriti bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe.
That which is night to all beings, in that state of divine knowledge and supreme bliss, the God-realized yogi keeps awake. And that in which all beings keep awake is night to the seer.
Apuryamāṇamacala pratishtham samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kāmāyam pravishanti sarve sashantimāpnoti na kāmakāmi.
As the waters of different rivers enter the ocean, which though full on all sides remains undisturbed, likewise, he in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace, not he who hankers after such enjoyments.
Vihaya kāmān yas sarvān pumāmścharati nisprihah nirmamo nirahankārah sashantimadhigacchati.
He who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment, egoism, and thirst for enjoyment attains peace.
Esha brahmi sthitif partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitva syamantakalepi brahma nirvāṇam ricchati.
Arjuna, such is the state of the God-realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusion, and established in this state, even at the last moment, he attains Brahmic bliss.
Om Tat Saditi Shrimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyayah.
conclusion. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the second chapter entitled Sankhya Yoga.
We are glad to announce setting up of the world's first and exclusive Bhagavad Gita University, and we seek your generous help. For more details, visit our website gitauniversity.in or give us a missed call on 9128 444 555. Also, please share this information to your friends to enable us build a world-class Gita University and make the world a better place to live. Jai Shri Krishna.